Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. And oh dear, like I have been kind of procrastinating on this video for a while because it was such an overwhelming project to do. I mean, I'm not really reviewing a carbon fiber. I'm reviewing half of an entire update. It's the entirety of Black Forest, and there are 120 cars. So real quick, all right, this is gonna be a long video. There are a lot of cars to talk about it. I'll go through it as quickly as I can, so let's just get straight into it. Okay, these are the top 5 cars I think that you should use for the final. Now obviously the chances of you getting those 5 cars is incredibly low. We're talking about you have 15 packs to open, and there are over 120 different cars for you to get. But in some perfect world, if you have every Enter the Black Forest car and you only have one of each, the best hand in my opinion is what you see over here. For the mix and the super twisty wet stuff, your best option is the 750. For the off-road, it's going to be these two. It's the BMW iX M60 and the BMW X2 M35i. One is your dragster, one is your handling all-surface tire car. And then for your drag, you have your Porsche 911 Turbo S 3.8, and then for your next hybrid track is going to be the Audi R8 V10 Plus Spider. Now please take every other judgment you see with a grain of salt. I basically just speed put everything in there, or I speed placed everything in those tiers because guys, there are 120 cars. I don't want this video to be too long, okay? So basically, like, you know, if your slick tires, you're at the bottom. Obviously, it feels so weird to put slick tires at the bottom, but of course, it is an all-rain final, so you'd be caught dead running these slick tires. So rest in peace to all the people that got tier 3 in the final that just passed the Imola final, because this Porsche, even though it's a really good car, it's useless for this final. And then yeah, I mean, all the low RQ, like low entry-level rarity cars, I just put in low chance. So entry-level epics, entry-level ultra rares, or anything that's called an Audi, it's just low chance. We have tentative and we have possible prize car. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, this is highly unlikely that you will have 5 of these cars. It's not like finals in the past where you can only unpack maybe 40 or 30 cars. So many of the top players in, you know, their respective brackets would at least have 2, 3, 4 of the cars in the top, you know, 5. But in this case of scenario, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you won the prize car with something sitting in low chance, because just there are so many different options for hands in this final. So, but like I said, if it's a perfect world, if you had every single car, then the top 5 is what I think is the best hand fitting that RQ 450 niche. But anyway guys, real quick, let's jump into the bigger meat and potato of the video. So the real thing that I wanted to talk about is how good is the entirety of Enter the Black Forest. Now I gotta be honest, this is a very tall order, 120 cars to rank. Please take this ranking with a grain of salt. I have 100 tabs of Top Drives records open right now, and I tried to compress as much time into my head as possible, but guys, let's be honest, there are so many cars. Like I said, I even contemplated thinking if I should even review this pack, but I do want to open, you know, a few of these Enter the Black Forest carbon fibers for this video, so I felt, you know what, let's just swing it. Okay, so I do have, if you want to see real quick, these are all the standard tire cars. Obviously I'm not going to show you the times of the 63 just yet. This is Blossom choice for a reason. The moment I unlock this car, it's going to be green across the board. But one thing that, you know, a few things that we can note is that this BMW 59 rear wheel drive is beating the 63 competitors. Why? The answer is actually very simple. This has 87 handling, this has 81, and this has 83. So obviously the car that handles better is going to be better on those twisty track sets, which is really what you're going to be using it for. But yeah, man, the moment I put this thing in, as you can see, it just wins everything. So that's why I took it out of the equation, so you can see everything else. You can see over here that this Audi is actually not that bad as well. So yeah, I just wanted to show that to you. So I'm going to move that back, and let's just get into ranking real quick. We got a lot of cars. Okay, so Audi A3, I'm going to put in daily driver. It's pretty good. 330e, I'm going to give it frequent provider. Now, like I said, take this judgment with a grain of salt. I have 120 cars that I have to really talk about here. Okay, this is pernicious ulcer. This is going to be frequent provider, just because, you know, 4-wheel drive standard, you can't go wrong with that. This is obviously Blossom choice. This car is underwhelming. I'm putting it in pernicious ulcer. This one's not too bad. I'm putting in daily driver. driver, this, even though it's not too bad, the fact that it's rear wheel drive standard tires still makes it really useless. So I mean, it's just a really useless drivetrain combination, I guess. So I'm gonna put it in freaking provider. It's not bad for its niche, but its niche is one of the worst in the game. 320D pernicious ulcer. I mean, these cars at least handle pretty well. They're in that 86, 84 mark. And then we move on to the all-surface tire gang. So for the Audis, nice and simple. I think this one's the best one of the bunch. This one is just a little bit worse. That 0 to 60 is just so big. And the all-road quattro I'm going to put in freaking provider as well. Audi S2 Avant, that's going to be hot garbage. The BMW 120D, also standard tires. I kind of missed out on this a little bit. Freaking provider. So I'm going to put that with the other standard tire cars. Like I said, I'm going through this as fast as we can. We got 120 cars, boys. All right, moving on. We have the BMW 128. Now, this is a car that I actually have max. Medium ground clearance, 90 handling. Personally, I own it. I use it quite a bit sometimes. I think it's a freaking provider. This one I'm even going to say daily driver. I've talked about this car very recently. There are not a lot of two-seater coupes with medium ground clearance with 90 handling. So, that is that cheap to use as well. So I do get my use out of that 430. Moving on is the 550i. I think it's a freaking provider. The 0 to 60 is a standout stat, but I just think that the handling is just way too weak for its RQ. Actually, a part of me wants to move it down to pernicious ulcer, but I know it is somewhat competent on city streets small. So because of that, it's like a borderline frequent provider for me. 760i is pernicious ulcer. This is a Blossom choice. The iXX drive, I mean, I can show you the times for the off-road as well. As you can see, the main thing that you want is that 63 Cooper SD all 4. The PHEV is the second best one to get, even though it has a much lower 0 to 60, 5.382 to 5.683. I mean, that's a 0.3 second difference, and obviously they're the same RQ, but one handles better, so fair enough. I kind of want to bring this Audi down though. You can see over here that it really just it just does not perform. I'm actually going to bring that down now. We're looking at the times again, so I'm going to bring that Audi down. You know what, just because it's so expensive to use, I'm actually gonna bring it. That's a big jump. Moving on is the iX. I mean, it's okay. I'm gonna give it freaking provider. And then yeah, we were talking about the off-road all surface tires. And then moving on, we have 4-wheel drive medium ground clearance, 90 hand. No, I think this is low. I can't remember what the ground clearance of this car is. There's so many of them and they all look the same. I mean, it's 4-wheel drive. The handling is okay. It's not gonna beat a Nissan Skyline i33, so I'm gonna put in freaking provider. BMW Z4, I think is daily driver, just because not a lot of German cars can actually handle that well, surprisingly enough. And then I'm gonna bring this up to daily driver as well for the same reason, but it's a lot cheaper to use by 10 RQ. This is the better one, so I'm gonna put that in daily driver. You're gonna be frequent provider. And then obviously this is going to be the Kaiser. This mini is really good. This one not so much. I'm gonna put it in pernicious ulcer. And then I'm going as fast as I can, y'all. And then the Porsche 904 Carrera GTS, I think is a freaking provider just because of its niche, how old it is and how light it is and how competent it is as a all-rounder. It's okay. There are times where it can be used, mainly because of that year. It is going to be utilized quite a bit. Next up, Porsche 911 Carrera 2 Cabriolet. I'm going to put that in freaking provider. These two, though, I don't use too much just because, you know, mid-RQ cars, they're not really RQ savers. They're not the best of the bunch, so they're kind of in the middle, not giving me a lot of service. The Cayenne, I'm going to go freaking provider. I think a lot of these also tire cars are just somewhat decent. And the Porsche Cayman R3.4. It's a very meh 64, 4585, not too interesting. There are a lot of, you know, ultra-rares out there that are capable of getting, you know, 88 handling, 89 handling, 86 handling, or maybe even 4.30 to 60, so 4.4. So 4.585 is just, you know, very average. Porsche Panamericana, I'm going to put it with the Carrera GTS just because these two are very quirky cars. Like, they just fit into things because of what they are. Because of, you know, this one is because it's old, this one's because it's medium ground clearance, and also old, and also 4-wheel drive, so, you know, there's all that to the bunch. Alright, moving on to Epics. This is hot garbage, this is hot garbage, this is hot garbage. This one's a little better, handles a little better, so I'm going to move it to frequent provider. 530D is a frequent provider. This is, it's honestly hot garbage. You're not going to be using, well, actually, 85 handling, 4-wheel drive, standard, handles better than the Audis. But still, it's a car that you're never really going to max out. But they are better than the Audis, so I'm going to bump it up 1 to pernicious ulcer. This one's actually pretty good. This is their Kaiser. And then this one, 77, 79. You're going to be... you handle pretty well for 69. I'm going to put you in frequent provider. 330E Saloon X Drive. I'm going to put this in frequent provider, in my opinion, as well. This one's really hard to upgrade, so I'm going to put it at the bottom. This one is 784 handling. I think Pernicious Ulcer. I understand it has that estate niche, but the estate niche doesn't get used enough for me to really, significantly bump it up. This is, yeah, that's hot garbage. You're never gonna max that. This is also hot garbage. This one's okay. I'll give it like frequent provider. This one also frequent provider. This one is Pernicious Ulcer. The RSQ3 Sportback is also a very interesting one. It doesn't handle very well. I'm gonna put in Pernicious Ulcer. It's got a low 0 to 60-ish. But the 83 handling just doesn't cut it. This is hot garbage. This one I would say frequent provider. The Audis just don't handle. They're really disappointing in handling. That's the main issue. This one is hot garbage. AT handling is just garbage. Even these, like these two are so expensive to use, but AT1 handling for an RQ74 4381, it's a tough one. 4384 for a 74. I kind of want to move the RS3Q3 down because it's 4383 and it's 77. It's tough. I mean, at the end of the day, the chances are you're not going to be maxing these Audis anyway. So I kind of just want to put them all in hot garbage. I really do, to be honest. This one's, you know what? You can all go hot garbage. They're Audis. You're never going to use them. This one is pretty good. 85 handling, 4-wheel drive tires. I'll bring you up. This one's really heavy though. I'll put this in Pernicious Ulcer. Although it's 4-wheel drive standard, it is only 84 handling. Same thing with this one, so those two are going to be Pernicious Ulcers. You are also going to be a Pernicious Ulcer. Just actually I'm going to bring it down hot garbage. The thing is, there's just too many cars here, guys. There are too many cars here. Daily driver for you because 90 handling, 4-wheel drive. You got a low 0 to 60. No top speed, doesn't matter. You're going to be great on the twisties. Okay, you're definitely Der Kaiser. There are not a lot of Der Kaisers, to be honest. This one's okay. It's got a really low 0 to 60. It's like a discount version of, the iX M60. And then the G80 BMWs are pretty good. I mean, that's not G80, sorry, but these G80 BMWs are very strong, so I'm gonna put them all up here. What's next? The M150i X-Drive, one of the cars which I just didn't know existed. 91 handling when you max it out, 4-wheel drive. 0 to 60 isn't too interesting. I'm gonna put in Pernicious Ulcer. It's a car that you're really barely gonna touch. This one you're barely gonna touch. This one you're barely gonna touch as well. I mean, anything 66 or like 68, you're not even gonna bother investing in, honestly. This one maybe is a Pernicious Ulcer. Handling sucks. This one again, I mean, it is an estate, but for the same reason as all the other estates, like this one I was talking about, it's just something that just never gets really utilized in. And the best estate is the RS4 Avant, and it's still not even that good because it's 4-wheel drive, 85 handling, but the 0 to 60 at least is very strong on this car. There's so many cars, dude. There's so many cars. Honestly, anything like 68 and below is just hot garbage unless it really stands out. This one 4.384, not too bad. I'll maybe frequent provider it. I'm just trying to see where the other 4384. This is 4384. I mean, it's the same car. I guess I'll put them all in Pernicious Ulcer. And then we have the BMW M550D X-Drive Saloon. 4282. The 0 to 60 on this is actually, quite impressive. I'm gonna put that frequent provider. Next up is the M5. Even reading the names is giving me a headache. I'm gonna be honest. If there's no handling, you go hot garbage. Once again, this thing, I mean, no handling, but the 0 to 60 is competent, so I'll put you in freaking provider. This one's actually good. I'm actually gonna put that into Kaiser just because it kind of is like a discount version of the Porsche Macan from World Expo. Next up are the BMW all-surface tire cars, and let's be honest, guys, are you ever gonna use these? 74, that's 84 handling, 84 handling, 86 handling, 84 handling, and 84 handling as well, or 85 handling. They're all very, very heavy cars. Besides the Mini actually is a little bit of a dark horse one, because I think it is one of the lighter cars. So I'm actually gonna put that in frequent provider, mate. No, you know what? That's too generous. At the end of the day, it's still at 65. All these BMWs, I'm gonna put them here as well. The only one that I'm gonna bring a little bit higher is the X6 because it just handles a little better. So frequent provider, you go. This Mini as well, 90 handling. I mean, it just gives me a headache because it's like, I know that I've probably made mistakes here. I know this because so many cars are just so similar to each other. I'm really just relying on the car that handles the best or has a standout 0 to 60. I'm gonna put in frequent provider. Like, that's it. At the end of the day, guys, this is my personal opinion. This is probably the most lenient what can you get from that pack you will ever see, because there are just so many cars. My brain is in haywire. It's in overtime. time right now. Again, this Porsches, you're not gonna get any value out of them. I love Porsches, but if I get them, they're most likely just fused material. The 911 GT3 is a different story, just because it has, you know, the standout MRA and it handles better. I'm gonna give that frequent provider. The Porsche RSR, I'm gonna give that daily driver as well. Only reason why I'm not gonna Der Kaiser the Porsche RSR is because it's just a worse Janetta. It's also going to lose to a lot of slick tire cars on super twisty tracks. It's going to lose to the Donkavort, which a lot of people are going to get because it's a tier 3 price car in this final as well. Alright, moving on. A 69, nice, but unfortunately hot garbage you go. And the Flachbau as well. The Porsche Taycan GTS, I'm going to put it in daily driver just because of that ridiculously low 0 to 60. But honestly, putting the Taycan in daily driver is a little bit counterintuitive because this has AT3 handling, this has AT5 handling, so in a sense maybe I should bring the RS4 Avant up, and a part of me actually wants to do so because I think I am a little bit too harsh to some of the epics that I judged over here, like especially like these BMWs. Are they really pernicious ulcers? The thing is, I don't think I'll ever be using, like, I don't think there'll be a lot of events where I'm just like, oh yeah, maybe these are actually really good. Like, think deep. Like, think about, like, if they ever made a standard tire only wet event, what would be the best wet standard tire car in the game? I guess in a German Renaissance, I mean, in an Enter the Black Forest perspective, then the best one would be this one. So, well, it won't be, sorry, because it will be this one, which is already a tier above. But it shouldn't be this tier because 76 handling for a 4-wheel drive standard tire car isn't good enough. Like, that's why we have the 78. So I think, you know what? I think I did judge them pretty fairly. So I'm kind of proud of myself. Moving on, Audi A5 DTM. Okay, you're going to be Der Kaiser. You are hot garbage. Audi R8 is going to be Der Kaiser. Audi R8 rear wheel S, whatever it is, I'm gonna give it frequent provider. It's one of those cars, I've already talked about it. I think it's overrated. It'll be a great 79, and you're only gonna get a lot of value out of it if you max it out. So is that really worth putting it in frequent provider? Because you need to max it out for it to be useful. I know the MRA is good. Still gonna lose the charger though. It doesn't matter because most chargers are maxed. Most Audi R8 RWSs are not maxed. So it's really tough. Should I put it in frequent provider? Am I judging this based off the fact that it's max? If I'm judging it based off the fact that it's max, it'll be a frequent provider. If I'm judging it based off the fact that it's only going to be 1 star, as it will be in most people's garages, then it's going to be a pernicious ulcer. So I'm going to go with the majority here. That's going to be 1 star most of the time. Pernicious ulcer you go. Next up is the Audi R8 plus Spider 87 handling for an RQ90 is garbage. I'm going to put your frequent provider at best. V10 frequent provider at best. This thing just looks like a heaping pile of crap. To pernicious ulcer you go. And then the BMW 330D, I'm gonna put that in the Kaiser actually. Then again, you know, at the same time, I need to see it as its max, but I feel like if you can max out the 330D, like the odds of, if I had this and I had the RQ80 Audi RWS, if I had to max one RQ80 out, 10 times out of 10 I would choose the BMW, because it actually is a competent 4-wheel drive standard tire car. It can get, you know, 87 handling. It has a relatively low 0 to 60. You can get a lot of value out of that car if you max it out. Though putting in Der Kaiser, I feel like it's still a little bit too generous, so I'm gonna bump it down to daily driver. Next up is going to be the 545E. This is going to be a frequent provider, honestly. I think the best of the best are going to be these two. So these two are your best standard tires, and I'm actually going to move this one up to Der Kaiser because I know one of the best cars for each daily. I made a video on that. You want to check it out? It's somewhere in my channel. And this car showed up like 7 times. So yeah, that car has value. This one, AT1, impossible to upgrade. I'm actually going to put it in pernicious also. You're not going to get much out of that. If you're going to max out a standard tire BMV, then my recommendation goes down to the 750 X-Drive or the 330D X-Drive Saloon, and I wouldn't really touch anything else. The M3 Competition M is a really good saloon if you can max it out, so I'm going to put it in Der Kaiser. Same thing for the Coupe as well. I'm just going to be Der Kaiser. All of the Porsches, I just want to just get rid of the Porsches right now. Every single Porsche, in my opinion, is just Der Kaiser. You can't really go wrong with any of these. These cars just look very, very nice. So let's bring them all the way up. Look at how much I have to freaking scroll because of how many freaking cars we have, dude. Even like this Porsche just handles a little better, right? 89, and then you look at you compare it to the Audis. The Audis are 88s and 87s and all that kind of crap. This BMW 3.2 87 for 89 RQ. I still think, you know, the general rule of thumb, and I've said this so many times, is that for a legendary, your RQ needs to be at least the same, or I mean your handling needs to at least be the same or higher than your RQ. So for that BMW, for example, if your RQ 89, then I expect you to be 89 handling. So I'm gonna put that in just a frequent provider. Next up is gonna be the M8 competition as well. I mean, yeah, just to keep the consistency, they're all gonna be frequent providers. They just don't handle as well as I think they should. The Porsche is gonna go up, and then obviously next up we have the Strassenversion. Say it with me, Lee, if you're still watching. Strassenversion. I'm gonna put them all in there, guys, just because I'm biased towards rear-wheel drive Porsches like that. Like I said, please take this video with many grains of salt, maybe even an entire bottle, because there's so many freaking cars for me to just select over here. These two, I'm actually gonna put them in freaking provider. The main issue is that the Porsche Taycan S, I believe, exists, also classifies as a saloon, has a way lower 0 to 60, also 4-wheel drive with similar handling. So because of that, I'm gonna put these two Panameras in frequent provider. But anyway, guys, it's not the best pack, but I want Porsches. I really want a Enter the Black Forest legendary Porsche because I don't have one. The only legendary Enter the Black Forest car I have, I think, is the BMW M5 CS. So I would like to get one. I've not been very lucky, but I did open one Enter the Black Forest pack off camera, and I did get an Epic. So hopefully we can get an Epic on camera. No, but that's really good. That's really good. And you know what else I really want, guys? I also really want the 62, is it? No, the 59. The 59. The BMW. Oh, I actually want both. Both medium ground clearance, the 4-wheel drive Blossom Choice, the 4-wheel drive center tire Blossom Choice, and the medium ground clearance rear-wheel drive Blossom Choice. I don't know what their model names are, okay? Blame BMW for making all their model names sound the same, okay? Next up, let's go. That's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. I didn't want that. I wanted the other one. All right, I'll do one more. We'll end up with 3. I've actually opened a lot of these. I've spent a lot of gold on these. I really shouldn't. Because like this isn't even a final that I'm competing in. So why am I opening so many of these packs? I'm just looking. The thing is, this is 120 cars. There are 120 cars to choose from. You know what? Dude, I've already opened one. You get 15, there's 8 left. I've already opened 7. I've technically opened half of the packs available, and I'm not even competing for this prize car. That wasn't the one. That wasn't the one. I wanted the standard tire. I wanted the 420 or the other one, the 59 medium ground clearance. Those two are so good. I'm gonna keep it at this though. I'm gonna keep it at this. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I do apologize if you're looking for, because usually I like to go for pinpoint accuracy. So if you're looking for pinpoint accuracy in this video, I'm sorry. It's not that accurate. There are 120 cars. I can't balance everything as one man with a small brain. I tried my best. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit